This video is for a 6-day program of extra practice with Rule 1. If you don't already know anything about Rule 1, dividing between two syllables, please watch the original video for that first. Before we begin, let's review our short vowel sounds. The short A is ah, like in hat. Short E is eh, like in pet. Short I is I, like in big. Short O is ah, like in dog. Short U is like in bug. Make sure you download the PDF that goes with this 6-day program so you can practice dividing these words into syllables. So please look at day 1, lines 1 and 2, and go through and divide these 6 words using Rule 1, dividing between two consonants. When you've done with that, restart the video and see how you did. So right here, when I divide them on paper, I typically draw a line here like this, but for the rest of the video, I will use these hyphens because it's easier to see on the screen. So right here, we've divided between the two B's. These syllables each have a vowel in the middle, so we will use the vowel short sound, hobbit. Divide between the two F's. Remember that ER says so we have offer. We remember that syllables starting with the vowel usually use the vowel's short sound, unless it's an A, in which case it often takes a muffled schwa sound of We remember that UR says divide between the two vowels, get the word occur. Divide between two consonants right here. Oh, I may have said between two vowels. Divide between the two consonants here. Divide between the two consonants. These two vowels both use their short sound, addict. Divide between the two D's, ladder. Between the two D's again, fodder. Now go ahead and divide the words on lines 3 and 4. When you've done that, come back and see how you did. We're going to divide between the two D's. This D and the R are going to stay together as a blend, which we will discuss in another rule. And these two S's together at the end of a word mean that the S is going to say S and not its Z sound. So here we get address, divide between the two F's, buffer, right here between the two F's, coffin, between the two B's. Now OR usually says or, but often in a word when it's in the last syllable, it becomes muffled and sounds more like So if you said stubborn, that would be the way it looks, but since the first syllable is accented, this or sound becomes more like and so really people will say it more like stubborn. Divide between the two B's, abbot and muffin. Now try the last two lines and then see how you do. Right here, we get differ, canon. Now remember, CH has 3 sounds. The most common one is ch, which is the one we need here. Other sounds are k and sh, but we will use the ch sound, which is by far the most common. Channel, rubber. Remember, SH says sh, so we get shudder and effort. Right here, this OR, you might say as or, but often it will become muffled and sound more like effort rather than effort. Okay, for day 2, go ahead and do these 6 words and then come back and see how you did. Divide between the two consonants. We get offend, connect, griffin, effect, affect. Notice these are 2 different words. People mix them up in English all the time. And ridden. Do lines 3 and 4 and then see how you do. Dinner, kennel, tennis, object or object. The accent depends on if you're going to use it as a noun, like place the object on the table. The noun form, the first syllable is accented. If you want to use it as a verb, like telling somebody you don't want to do something, like I object, then you put the accent or the emphasis on the second syllable. Neglect, perfect. All right, lines 5 and 6. Tunnel, abduct, witness. Remember that the double S at the end of the word means the S will definitely take the S sound. Insect, vector. Once again, since this syllable is accented, this or sound might become muffled and sound more like Victim. All right, it's day 3. I would like to point out all these words have more than one syllable and they end in a Y, which means that the Y is going to take the long E sound of E. So go ahead and divide between the two consonants. Hobby, lobby, bubbly. We want these two to stay in this syllable. Shabby, ruddy, bunny. Go ahead and do lines 3 and 4. Jenny, Tommy, Bobby, Timmy, Jimmy, Teddy. And lines 5 and 6. Buddy, actor. Once again, even though OR usually says or, at the end of the word it often becomes muffled and sounds more like and that's the case in this word. Collect, contact, and sippy. Welcome back to day 4. There's something I want you to pay attention to in these words. Remember that the letter C uses its soft sound of S before the letters E, I, or Y. So go ahead and try the words in lines 1 and 2, paying attention to using the soft sound of S before the letters E, I, or Y. So we're going to divide between the two C's. So the first one will take its normal hard sound. So we have ak. And this one is followed by an E. So it will take on the soft sound of S. And this syllable will be scent, accent. This C will take on the hard sound. So we have ak. This one is followed by an E. So it will say S. So we have sept, accept. We split between the two C's. The double S here means the S will definitely have its S sound. So we have success, aspect, conduct, or conduct if you want the verb form, convict. Go ahead and do lines 3 and 4. This C is followed by an I. So we want its soft sound. So this syllable will be sin-D. Remember the Y at the end of a multi-syllable word takes on the long E sound. Cindy. Adjunct, specter, tractor. Once again, this OR becomes muffled and sounds more like Welcome to day 5. Please go ahead and divide these words. So remember that AU sounds like ah. So we have auction, section, fiction, suction, caption, and caution. One thing these words all have in common is that the suffix shun. In words of Latin origin, before many prefixes, TI takes on a sh sound. And O before an N often takes the schwad sound of So that's how this can sound like shun. So go ahead and do lines 3 and 4. Okay, portion, verdict, lactose. Notice the silent E makes the O have its long sound of O. Fitness, the double S has the S sound. Sweetness, the double E has the long E sound. And acclaim. AI says A, the long A sound. Acclaim. Go ahead and do line 5. Dictate. Once again, we have the silent E making the A have its long sound of A. Cabbage. Now you might wonder, why is this spelled with a GE? Well, English words do not end in the letter J. So if you have a J sound at the end of an English word, it can be spelled with a GE after a long sound, or if it's after a short sound, we use DGE. I have a video about that. So right here, it's cabbage. Now you might wonder, why don't we say cabbage? Well, this is the accented syllable, which means that this A sound is not actually a long A sound. It becomes the muffled schwa sound. So this E is not here to make this have its long sound of A. This E is to make the G have its soft J sound. Because a G before an E, I, or a Y often, but not always, says J. And our last word here is innate. Welcome back to the last day of this program. My hint for this day is the letters in red are going to stay in the same syllable. And there's another rule about these letters called blends that you will get to eventually. So for now, just make sure when you divide, treat the red letters like one letter. So we're going to divide right here. The T and R are a blend, so it will stay together. And we will have attract. F and L are a blend, so they want to stay together, so we split after the N before our blend right here. Conflict. S and P are a blend, so they are like friends who won't go anywhere without each other. So we split here and we get inspect. S and T are a blend, so we split here. Chestnut. Remember, AU says ah, so we have gauntlet and picture. Now, one thing to notice, a U, a long U, after the letter T tends to change the sound of the T to more like a ch. So if you pay attention, you will notice people don't say picture because it's hard to say, and it winds up sounding more like picture, like this T is a CH.